O'Brien Performance Baseball brings you the fourth episode of the Dugout Talk podcast with Matt Keough, the owner and lead instructor of BPE Baseball. Matt is a Quinnipiac baseball alum and current coach with the Route 2 Blue Sox. Matt takes us through the progression of his baseball career and what led him into coaching. He'll also talk about his experience with college baseball and how his bridge year at Suffolk University put him in the best position to walk on at Quinnipiac the following year. We close this episode on the real aspects behind arm care and how to put yourself in the position to get to that next level. Any questions for Matt, please reach out to his Instagram page at BP_baseball on Instagram. His stuff will be linked in the description down below. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Dugout Talk podcast presented by OBP Baseball. This week we have on Matt from BPE Baseball, a pitching coach, instructor, and he wears a lot of other hats. So Matt, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So yeah, we'll jump right into it. So Matt, if you want to just kind of bio yourself real quick, and then we can go off from there.
So Matt Keough, I'm from Waltham. Went to Arlington Catholic. Little Catholic boy like Scotty himself. Went to Suffolk University for 1 year and then to Quinnipiac University. Graduated there in 2011. Got into coaching out of college and kind of steamrolled from there. Coach right now at Route 2 Athletics in Arlington and have a little bit of a side gig with BPE Baseball right now with my own little throwing program and workout program. So
sweet. Yeah, so just wanted to hop you on. Appreciate you getting on, chop it up with us. So, if you want to just take us through your progression on how you kind of got started with the game. I know a lot of us, our age, our generation, just kind of that's what we did. If you have anything kind of to add on that.
Yeah, so when I was younger, used to go up to New Hampshire all the time with my family. Place in Wares Beach. They had go-karts, they had batting cages, things like that. I was very young, and I just kept pestering my dad, I wanted to use the batting cage, cages. Thought I was really too young. Threw me in there with like the softball type batting cage where it was really slow. You got the big ball. Didn't hit one ball. Wasn't even close. But I just fell in love. I had the helmet on. I had the bat. I was just like, this is the awesomest thing in the world. Forget the go-karts. I was like, I just want to stay here and do that. So we got home from vacation. My dad bought me a little tee set, probably one of those Franklin ones. And from there on, I just, loved the game. I was outside. I was hitting, off the tee. My dad was playing catch with me. I just kind of really fell in love with it. Went into Little League, T-ball right off the bat. I was crushing the ball. I had been hitting off a tee for 2-3 years before that. So they were like, all right, go up in the coach pitch. Went up in the coach pitch. First couple swings, boom, boom, boom. They were like, all right, go. You got to go to the minors. You're going to hurt someone. So started off in the minors. That was kind of my first real baseball thing. And I was like, this is cool. This is real. This is what I watch on TV. Kids are throwing at me, things like that. So from there on, it just kind of steamrolled. Now, ever since then, I've kind of loved the game. So it's been pretty cool kind of coaching now, seeing some of that transition with some of the kids that I'm involved in. So, it's kind of rewarding kind of being a little leaguer at one point and then seeing kids, whether it's 13, 14 or some of the camps that I've worked when I was younger, kind of that same mentality of enjoying the game and kind of really, really getting behind it because you actually feel passionate about it,
Correct. Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. So I get this question a lot too. Why did you go to a private school? You could have just stayed and played with all your buddies. So my question for you is, what led you to pick Arlington Catholic over Arlington High?
So I'm from Waltham, so I would have gone Waltham High School, but I have two older sisters and they both went to Arlington Catholic. I went to a Catholic school since kindergarten. So kindergarten through 8th grade, I was at St. Jude's in Waltham, and my two sisters did the same thing, kind of followed in their footsteps. I had three options. It was Catholic Memorial, Xaverian, or Arlington Catholic. Right. When I went on the tours to CM and Xaverian, I loved it there. But me growing up, I played baseball, played basketball, played football, played a bunch of different sports that I wanted to kind of continue on playing in high school. And I knew at CM and Xaverian, I might have been limited to maybe one of those because of the competitive aspect of being an all boys school. So with my sisters already being at Arlington Catholic, me being familiar with the school and kind of what its core values were, what kind of athletics it had and what it had to offer me for 4 years, I kind of made the decision just to go to AC. That way I could play numerous sports and kind of still get that Catholic education that I still wanted to do.
That's perfect. Yeah. It's kind of like me. I did the family generation. My stepdad and all his family members went to Spelman. So then I just kind of transitioned. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going here. And it was probably one of the better decisions I've made.
Yep.
Like you said, you can play multi-sports at those places, the CCL, stuff like that. So that's cool. I think that for the younger kids, it's kind of, you got to find where you fit or where you think you're going to fit rather than, oh, this is the big flashy school. This is where I want to go. I think it's all about fit. So no, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
I think that trickles down obviously to, later on with college recruiting and kind of figuring out that college aspect and kind of where you want to go as a college athlete as well.
Right.
I had been at the beginning of COVID, I was doing a few podcasts and things like that with some guys that I know, and Sal Freelick from Boston College, as well as Jeff Costello, both of them kind of based their college decisions, obviously on baseball, but also their fit, kind of what they wanted in their core values and kind of what they saw fit best for them as a university, not just kind of like a baseball school.
Right. No, I agree. So we can segue right into kind of your college thing. What led you ultimately to pick Quinnipiac over, a lot of other area schools?
So my oldest sister, Caitlin, went to Quinnipiac. My other sister went to Fairfield. So very familiar with the two schools, very familiar with Connecticut, kind of the area. Wanted to stay around the New England area. I love my family. I got a big family. So, being around them, being able to come back for all the holidays like Easter, Christmas, things like that was pretty big for me. Knowing Quinnipiac, I always wanted to go there because of my sister. And, I've seen the school. I saw how it was transitioning, both athletically and academically. So really wanted to go there. I didn't have the opportunity out of high school, had to get better grades as well as mature as, an athlete and both a baseball player. So, I really took that kind of task on hand. So I went to Suffolk University for 1 year out of AC, played fall ball there, didn't play in the spring, obviously saved years of eligibility, but worked out all winter, worked out all spring, submitted my transcript, ended up getting into Quinnipiac, and then obviously going there and walking on. So it wasn't all kind of kosher at first. It wasn't like a national letter of intent right off the bat when I was a junior or senior. I was told flat out, like, hey, right now, academically, you're a little short and athletically, you're also a little short. So if it's something you want, stay close to home, get your grades up, give yourself a chance to play fall ball, work out during the winter, do your thing in the spring. And then if the transcript works and kind of fits the bill, then you can come in the fall. So kind of took that challenge and just kind of ran with it and went to Suffolk University with kind of an open mind. If it didn't work out, then I had met some great people at Suffolk. I wasn't opposed to staying there. If it didn't work out at Quinnipiac, I would have, gladly stayed at Suffolk and been in the city and probably made the best of it and continued on. So.
Right. Well, that speaks a lot to, a lot from what I've seen, a lot of the players kind of doing a bridge year, like kind of what your Suffolk was. Did that bridge year, played the fall ball, and then saved that year of eligibility. But it speaks to kind of the change of generations here. I've seen a lot more recently with the kids doing the bridge year and then being able to transfer into those schools that they really wanted to go to, whether it be, like you said, grades or just their bodies aren't mature enough and they need to work on some stuff. So do you find that to be more prevalent now, or you kind of not seeing that all that much?
So I think it all depends on the athlete. I have some athletes that have had a opportunity to go to a very good academic school and play baseball, but maybe on the other side could have went to an Ivy League school and possibly walked on if they did a bridge year or a prep year. So it comes down to the fact that they think, and personally, I thought that they are very good baseball players. You know, at the end of the day, especially around here in New England, and even across the country, it doesn't matter if you're JUCO, D3, D2, D1. If you're good, they're going to find you. This individual is very, very strong academically and didn't really feel the need to go to a bridge year because it wasn't academic driven. And he was already on that kind of rise of physically maturing.
Right.
So he figured, hey, I'm going to commit to this school. They want me. They're showing interest. I've always wanted to go here. I know it's a lower division, but they're one of the better schools in the nation in that division. I like the academics. It's a great fit for me. So boom, that's where I'm going to, commit to and go.
No, for sure. Yeah, so just had a few questions. Obviously, you're the owner, lead instructor over at BPE Baseball. Kind of what came about that? Like, how did you want to start that, and kind of what made you dive into doing that?
So I started it in 2017. I had just finished my first full season coaching with Route 2. It was their first full year. I was coaching 14U, and they set up basically a short season 14U. So we finished right before 4th of July. It was Route 2's first year, so they didn't really dive too deep into, big schedules, a lot of tournaments, things like that. So my season came to an end. Some of the players I was coaching were still playing senior Babe Ruth. So I was still doing individual lessons with them and doing bullpens and stuff throughout the summer. So I figured, hey, there's always some stuff on Instagram. It's a great way in terms of knowledge to learn and also give people exposure and kind of teach people as well. I had a few kids that I could build a platform and say, hey, we're working on this, throw up a video, whether it's a pro guy or one of my players, kind of demonstrate and also give some literature about what is going on in the video or the picture, just so everyone can kind of be on the same page, even though we weren't working out together. I was doing a lot of individual lessons, but we were all kind of working on the same things. So I figured, hey, if I just start this Instagram account, Instagram wasn't what it was now. So I just thought that's pretty cool. I can just showcase some things. All the guys can see it. I can tell them to follow it. That way, we don't have to do group text or emails. They can just log on and see what I'm posting, see what we're talking about.
Right. No, for sure. I think you're doing a lot of great work with those kids. I've been following and stuff like that. You have some studs over there too, so that's great. Kind of segue into that. So obviously you kind of center your stuff around arm care and like your throwing program. How important, for arm care is especially for the younger guys listening, is that now rather than, oh, my arm's kind of sore when you're in high school. It's like, hey, how about we start doing this stuff now?
So I think when we hear the word arm care, everyone just kind of thinks about the arm.
Right.
That's where a lot of it starts, in our warm-ups with our bands and our mobility and things like that. But I feel like sometimes the arm care term neglects the lower half, and that kind of sets the tone throughout the rest of the progression while you're a pitcher. Your kinetic energy, we work from the ground up. So if our lower half is erratic or isn't stable or is out of whack, our top half's going to be out of whack. So for me, when I term arm care, a lot goes into it from, our dynamic warm-ups, not only just getting our arms stretched and warmed up, but also our T-spine, our hip mobility, getting our band work in, doing our pre-throw band routines, starting off with some light plyo balls, just kind of triggering some things that we want to do arm path wise before we start going into our lower half stuff. Once we go from there, we'll transition over maybe to med balls or PVC pipe. Big thing right now is the hip hinge. Kids have been taught to get down the mound. So they become more quad dominant and they get on their toes, opposed to really being on the archway of their foot, kind of being more so on their heel and keeping that heel connect. So you use that full leg, you get into your backside, you get into your butt, gets you down mound. We teach a lot of kids how to get into that hip hinge and then also rotate our hips to get out of it. Certain things like that lower half is so important for arm care, right. So a lot goes into it, other than just the bands and kind of the arm aspect of it.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah, so we have a few more questions. So I know you wear a ton of hats. You got your day job, which is Tricon Sports,
Yep.
Route 2, coaching, BPE, and among other things. So how did the opportunity arise a bunch of years back for you to work with the Pete Fraziers Foundation? Because I know a lot of the guys in this area know exactly what that is.
Yeah. So Pete was a very good friend of mine. I actually, out of college, I started playing for a organization in the inner city league called the Lexington Blue Sox. So I met Pete in 2012. And then in March, he actually was diagnosed with ALS. So I had joined the Blue Sox. Pete is 4 years older than me. So when I was in high school, I would go over to Boston College. I'd stand along that brick walkway up on the left side of the football stadium overlooking the baseball field. And I'd watch this dude in center field who was a stud. He mashed baseballs, dude tracked every fly ball down, had a cannon for an arm. And I was like, this dude's sick. Go on through college or high school through college. And then I find myself playing for the Lexington Blue Sox. I meet Pete Fraziers, awesome dude, heart of gold, absolute stud. Later on, we were going through indoor workouts, winter workouts. March comes, we're up at the Cage in Woburn, and Rick DeAngelis, who's the owner of the Lexington Blue Sox, told us that Pete was diagnosed with ALS. So I had been working at Tricon Sports at the time. We do custom T-shirts, hats, all that type of stuff. So I talked with Rick and I said, hey, let's do some shirts. Let's start fundraising. Later on that year, Andrew's brother and Pete, they started the Ice Bucket Challenge. It was a big thing. So just being a teammate and a friend of Pete, and then having kind of the opportunity that I have at work to kind of fundraise and create shirts and create hats and put it to good use. Myself, Pete, and Andrew just sat down one day and just kind of mashed our heads together and came up with a logo, and it just kind of steamrolled from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I've seen you guys doing like the polar plunge, stuff like that. You guys still doing that?
Yeah, so we're going to continue to do the PF3 golf tournament. Some guys, what some guys have done over the last year is they'll do like a separate kind of GoFundMe or Venmo type fundraiser where they're going to plunge by themselves. It wasn't a group, it wasn't a group thing this year for numerous reasons, obviously COVID being one of them. But a lot of guys did kind of individual things during December and things like that. So we've kept the PF3 golf tournament. We were able to do that this year just because of, at one point golf was the only thing that we could really do. So it was good to kind of get that out there and kind of keep that tradition going in terms of raising funds for the foundation.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Awesome work. He was a great guy. So
yeah,
that's good stuff. Yeah. So last question kind of for you, this is kind of like for the younger generation podcast. So for any of the younger generation ball players listening, do you have any advice to kind of get them in the mindset of getting to that next level, whether that be just in practice or, high school to college or 8th grade to high school type stuff like that? Any advice?
Yeah, I think, obviously you've probably heard that quote where, you need to have dreams that people laugh about. You need to have big dreams. I wanted to go to Quinnipiac. Someone told me I couldn't. Are you just going to accept that and say, all right, cool, I'll just do this? Or are you going to say, you know what? No, tell me what I need to do to get either onto my JV baseball team as a freshman or on my varsity team, whatever your aspirations are, whether it's varsity, college, a certain AAU program, area codes, whatever it is, find out what you need to do to make those teams and be in those situations, and then work your ass off to accomplish that, and if you do fall short, don't just say, okay, go back and say, all right, what didn't I do? Or what could I have done better? Try to accomplish that again, and then kind of reset and attack it again. I think sometimes kids they hit a wall and it's just the end of the world. Keep pushing, just keep working, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. No, man, I appreciate you you coming on and being able to take the time out to chop it up with us. And where can they find you?
You can, a lot of the stuff that I just mentioned. I know it was short with our bands, med ball, PVC pipe. If you go onto my Instagram at BPE_baseball, you'll find a lot of the drills that we do over at Route 2 and kind of what we have our pitchers going through, both arm care, like I said, lower half, actual arm care, things like that. So if they want to give me a follow or if they want to have any questions, they can shoot them over to my DM. Any videos that some of your guys might have, have them shoot them over. I can give them a quick analysis, something like that. So, just tell them, don't be afraid to ask questions, stuff like that. Feel free to reach out.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, guys, I'll keep all his stuff down in the link in the description so you guys can follow that. And like he said, any questions you may have, he'll be happy to reach back out to you and kind of give you analysis of your pitching motion or whatever it might be. All right, Matt, I appreciate you
Awesome.
jumping on, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Keep growing the game.